News that federal authorities have been investigating an illegal medical lab in Reedley has become a national story. On this Wired Wednesday, we check in with GV Wire reporter Edward Smith to learn more about the lab's links to a licensed facility that formerly operated in Fresno. Good morning, Edward. What's new with this
Good morning,
medical
Jim.
lab?
I'm sorry, say that again.
What's new with this medical lab?
So a lot more is coming out about the relationship between the Fresno lab and the Reedley lab. From what it sounds like from emails from the owner of the Reedley lab, it sounds like they were a major creditor to the Fresno lab. And so what happened was after that lab, she says they had fallen into bankruptcy. Now we're still trying to find those bankruptcy filings, but she came into control of the assets of the Fresno lab, and that's how they wound up at that warehouse. It's more of a warehouse in Reedley, and so they were storing it while they were going to move into their new space in Fresno. They were planning to build a 17,000 square foot warehouse in Fresno to do their laboratory.
Well, now the FDA recalled the COVID-19 test from the Fresno lab back in 2022. What was the reason at that time?
So the FDA had said that they were lacking a lot of data that they needed to pass that COVID test. So it was actually the harshest recall that could be done because a lot of those were not testing. They said that there was a risk of death, but more importantly, they were doing it was coming back as false positives, and they just weren't reliable.
And who owns the building that housed the now closed Reedley lab?
So there's a woman in Oakland who owns that building. The connection between the woman in Oakland and the operator of Prestige Biotech is unclear at this point. We're still trying to find that out. But they had found that place because they were looking for a warehouse to store it, and the Reedley warehouse seemed to be the best fit for them.
Now, you reported that when the county public health department and the CDC opened two locked sub-zero freezers, they found samples of malaria, HIV, COVID-19, and common STD. Do you think the county should have told the public before this was reported in the media?
So a lot of county officials are saying that once they found out that the building was safe and that there was no threat to the public, i.e., airborne or waterborne illnesses, they immediately began an investigation. So what county officials and what Reedley city officials are saying is that disclosing stuff to the public would have threatened the investigation, and that federal authorities had actually instructed them not to disclose to the public.
Oh, interesting. And can you see Universal Meditech or its owners ever being licensed again to operate a medical lab?
That's going to be a tricky one to say. Unfortunately, the California Department of Public Health has not gotten back to us about what it takes to open a lab. Now, from what it looks like, Universal Meditech was licensed to operate, but after all this and the recall and what they've now found in Reedley, it would be difficult to say.
All right, Edward Smith with GV Wire. Thank you so much for joining us on this Wired Wednesday morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Jim.